I want to make this video for those of you that are thinking about buying an SKS. Maybe you've never bought a rifle before and you don't want to spend a lot of money, and you want something reliable, something that you could actually, maybe if you want to go deer hunting or hog hunting or whatever you want to do, but you just don't want to spend, you know, $1,500 or $2,000 or $3,000. I've got friends that do that are seriously into guns, spend a lot of money, and that's their hobby, that's their thing. I love guns. I've shot since I was a little kid. I think I shot my first gun when I was about 4 years old. An older cousin of mine and our family went out and I shot a shotgun, and we were shooting at cans on an old dead tree that was laying on its side, and I think I shot the bark off the tree. But anyway, I started when I was young, and I've always been around guns and learned gun safety and all that stuff. I'm not a big hunter. I have hunted some, but mostly bird hunting, and I like that, but I just don't do much of it. And I do hog hunting here in Central Florida. I work with Florida Wildlife and help people when they have problems with hogs coming and tearing up their yards and that kind of thing. Anyway, the SKS, this is a Paratrooper model. I bought it back in the mid to late 1990s when I was living in Salt Lake City. Bought it from Doug's Shooting Sports. I paid about $160. It seemed like they're all going for about $450 now, but even then, that's not a bad price for a rifle. The good thing about these things is they're very indestructible. I mean, they just take a beating, get full of dirt, and you don't have to, I mean, if you don't clean them, I recommend you do clean your guns, but if you don't clean it very often, the thing's still going to fire and be accurate. Using the iron sights, from 100 to 200 yards, man, this thing is dead on. I used to go up to the desert in Salt Lake, you know, around Salt Lake City and up in the mountains, and I've probably shot around 2,000 rounds through this rifle, and it's just as accurate as it can be. It's easy to shoot, it's not too heavy, and it's just a fun gun. One of the first things I did when I bought it, it comes with a 10-round mag that you can use stripper clips to load it, or just pop it down and load them individually. But I took that off and put a 30-round magazine in the gun. You can see they're a little different than an AR or AK. They got this thing that extends out. I think they actually make a conversion where you can use a regular AK-47 magazine, and I've just never gone to the trouble. I bought this and really enjoyed it. Just for out plinking, and it's nice. You can shoot a bunch of rounds, and they're not expensive. I bought my first 1,000-round box of 7.62 by 39 ammo back in Salt Lake City, probably late 90s. And I think I paid about $225. I bought 1,000 rounds about a year ago and paid like $240, so they really haven't gone up much. I eventually bought a 40-round mag, which is just, it's a little too much. It's just, it seemed like it's really in the way, but I've got it if I ever need it. And then yesterday, I bought a Pro Mag 10-round plastic mag, or polymer if you want to call it. It's a little harder to seat when you put it in, but as far as these magazines go, these two, I haven't shot anything out of this one yet, but I have never had any problems with loading. I mean, I have never had any problems. I've read people talking about that. They've had problems with the guns jamming up and all that kind of stuff because of the mag, but I don't know, maybe I got lucky, but I haven't had any problems. Like I say, the first thing I did was change the mags. The second thing I did is I put and that was about 3 or 4 years after I bought it, maybe longer, I put a nylon stock. It has a butt pad on it, which you really don't need. There's not a whole lot of recoil with the 7.62 by 39. I could go out and shoot 200 or 300 rounds in a day, and my shoulder wouldn't really be sore. I put a sling on it, but I think I paid about $80 for that nylon stock, and I really, really like that. That's probably one of the best things I did for it. It was really easy to change. The hardest thing really much was taking the bolt out of the wooden stock that goes through the center and holds the gun in. Next thing I did was I put a 3 to 9 by I think 32 scope on it, and all you have to do is you slide this little switch up, take off your back plate here, replace it with this one, tighten your screws and bolts down, put your scope in, and go sight it in. And this actually sets up high enough that you can see through to see your iron sights still. This thing, using the iron sights between 100 and 200 yards, this thing is dead on. I mean, it is completely accurate. It's really a nice weapon. I mean, for the money, you absolutely can't beat one of these things. If I was in a bad situation where we had to go to the hills, or which Florida's kind of hard to do, but if we had to get away and I could only take one rifle with me and I needed something that would do pretty much everything, this is the rifle I would take. I mean, you can spend a lot more money, but as far as reliability, it doesn't get much better than this. And you can see how it compares to my AR-15 carbine. And like I say, this is the Paratrooper model. All they did is they just cut the barrel a little shorter for the American market. And I actually bought my son Russian, and this Chinese model this is, and I bought my son a Russian with a laminated stock, Russian SKS, the longer barrel, for his 14th birthday. He still has that. He's 36 now and still has that. Still a good gun. He finally just, within the last year, put a high capacity magazine on that gun. It also has the bayonet. This one didn't, and I have no need for a bayonet. It's just extra weight. But you can see it's just about the same size as my AR-15, just a little bit longer. Now, what I want to do, I want to show you the difference in bullet sizes. Now, the bullet size, like I said, is a 7.62 by 39, and this is Russian tool ammo, and I have never had problems with this ammo. I don't think I've ever had a misfire. I had a couple misfires with some aluminum case 40 caliber for one of my pistols, but this stuff I have never had a problem. Actually, this stuff was designed for this rifle and for AKs. Let me put this up with a 2A battery so you can kind of get an idea of the size of the 7.62 by 39. That's a steel core bullet right there. Like I say, they're just good bullets. This is a 5.56 by 45. Let me move the battery out of the way. This is from my AR-15. You can see it's just a little bit longer, but a lot narrower. Basically, that's just a glorified 22 bullet. The the 7.62 by 39 seems to have a little more knockdown power, and I've been using my AR-15 for hog hunting, but I really like the 7.62 by 39 with the extra punch you get with it. I just think it's a little heavier bullet, and you can shoot deer with it, things like that. This is a 357 Magnum. You can see the difference there. We'll leave this up here. This is 38 Special. Nice thing about that is if you don't know much about guns, with my 357 Magnum, I can shoot 357 Magnum or I can shoot 38 Special rounds. My wife, she uses a 38 Special for her carry weapon, and the 357 Magnum is just too much for her, just too much extra kick, but the 38 is just right for her. This is a 45 ACP. Boy, you talk about knockdown power, that's a good one. And then this is a 40 Smith & Wesson. That's my preferred round. That's my preferred carry. I have a Smith & Wesson Sigma 40F that I bought right when Glock was coming out over here in the U.S. At least they were getting to our market in Salt Lake City at the time. And when I went to the gun store, they had the Glocks in a glass case sitting right next to the Sigma. They are pretty much exactly the same gun. Glock actually sued Smith & Wesson for a copyright infringement and won their lawsuit. Well, they ended up having to take one spring out of the gun, which didn't really make much use anyway, and it satisfied the lawsuit. I think they're still paying Glock some money over that. But when I held those, the Smith & Wesson Sigma fit my hand so much better than the Glock. And like I say, the price was exactly the same, and so I ended up getting the Sigma. And I still have that to this day. And the only thing I didn't like about it is it had a 12-pound trigger pull, which was ridiculous. And when I first shoot it, I would pull so hard I would be off target. So I have worked that down to about 5 pounds now, which is nice. This is a 9mm. I just recently bought Sky CPX2 9mm. If you haven't heard of those, if you need an inexpensive concealed carry weapon, let me recommend them. The only thing I don't like is it has a really long trigger pull on it, but boy, you talk about a nice weapon, and they have the best warranty in the business. You can tear the living daylights out of the pistol and you send it back and they'll fix it for free, no questions asked. What I do with that long trigger pull, though, it's like a Ruger LCP. If you've ever shot one of those, a little 380, it has a super long trigger pull. But when I'm in a situation where I need to fire, I'll pull the trigger back about halfway and stage it. And then when I need to fire, I just pull it on through. This is a 22 long rifle. That's another excellent round. If I couldn't take my SKS, if I was going off somewhere and having to hit out in the, or hide out in the woods, a 22 long rifle, my Ruger 1022 would be awesome. You can do a lot with a 22, a lot more than you think you can. And this is a 2 3/4 inch 12 gauge shotgun shell. But I really recommend the SKS, even if you got to pay $450. The thing is, you're never going to lose your money. Prices will just keep going up on weapons. And right now, prices are really good on handguns and rifles alike. So now's the time to buy. And if you're not a member of the NRA or the National Gun Owners of America, let me encourage you to join those. Our Second Amendment rights are in jeopardy. They probably always will be in this country. You always have these people that don't understand our Constitution. They don't understand the importance of being able to arm ourselves, and they're always wanting to take our firearms away. So let me encourage you to join the NRA. It's $25 a year. I mean, that's you spend more than that probably buying sodas throughout the year. And the Gun Owners Association of America, they seem to be a little more militant, maybe you'd say. But both groups are really good groups, and we need to be a part of that. And talk to your friends. If your friends don't know anything about shooting, take them out. Teach them to shoot. Teach them to be safe. And I don't know how many people my wife and I have taken to the range that have never shot a gun, and we teach them that the gun won't do anything they don't want it to do, and that the guns are safe, guns are good. Most people in this country never ever use a firearm for anything bad. And like we've always said, if you disarm the law-abiding citizens, only the criminals will have guns. So have a good day and enjoy your SKS.